What if you spent your whole life working only to discover that you don't have enough money to retire? For some people, this isn't just a scary thought, this is their reality. Especially if you're under 35 years old, I want you to pay close attention to the 3 signs I will be sharing with you in this video that indicate that you will not have enough money saved for retirement. And make sure you watch to the very end because I will be sharing with you the best method for retirement planning and how you can apply that to yourself. First sign that you won't have enough money for retirement is if you're living paycheck to paycheck. This essentially means that you're using up all of your income each month toward your essential living expenses, leaving little to no room for saving or investing for your future. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, there is no buffer for emergencies or unexpected expenses, let alone long-term savings goals like retirement. Now, unfortunately, this is a place where many people find themselves, so if you are living paycheck to paycheck, you are not alone. Living this way can become a habit that carries into retirement if it's not addressed early on. Instead of building wealth over time, you're caught up in this endless cycle of earning and spending, and often relying on credit cards or loans to bridge any gaps between your paydays. If you want to break free from this cycle, it's important to take a hard and honest look at your expenses and income. First, start off by tracking your spending for 30 to 60 days, documenting every single purchase or every single expense that you encounter. This will really give you a baseline understanding of how you are spending your money, because I promise you, you are spending your money in ways that you do not even realize right now. From there, you can identify areas of non-essential spending where you can cut back and then place that money towards other things. And you can also work on increasing your income, maybe through getting a side hustle or through negotiating a raise at work. After that, you're gonna wanna get on a budget and stick to it, and this means updating it consistently every single week, tracking your spending, and adjusting your behavior with your money as necessary. In addition, I would highly recommend prioritizing building an emergency fund. Aim to save about 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses that can cover you in case of unexpected job loss or any unexpected financial crisis you may find yourself in. By gradually reducing your reliance on each paycheck to cover your immediate needs, you will be able to really take that money and put it towards your savings and investments, which will help you to build a more secure future. The next sign is a very common problem in our society today, and that is debt. And I'm not just talking about small amounts of debt, but carrying significant levels of debt. The total household debt in America reached a record high of over $17 trillion in 2024. Carrying significant amounts of debt can severely limit your ability to save and invest for the future. Think of it this way: every dollar that you spend on debt interest payments is a dollar that you could have put towards saving and investing for retirement. If you do not take care of your debt when you're young, the problem will only get worse with time, and this is especially true for high interest debt like credit card debt, which only gets bigger and bigger the longer it stays around. Entering into your retirement age with substantial debt could force you to prematurely tap into any retirement savings you do have, which typically results in penalties and of course reduces your overall spending ability. If you are currently facing high levels of debt, the best favor you can do yourself is to prioritize a debt repayment strategy. Dave Ramsey likes to recommend the debt snowball method, where you start off by paying off your smallest amount of debt first, and then you take the money that you are applying to that smallest amount and move to the next smallest, all the way up to your highest debt amount. And if you really like small wins and motivation, then this strategy may work really well for you. Alternatively, there's the debt avalanche method, which focuses on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first, which reduces your interest payments over time. Whichever method you choose, the key here is to focus on paying more than the minimum debt payment, which will accelerate your debt payoff process, and then you can redirect that income towards your retirement savings. The next sign that you won't have enough money saved for retirement is if you currently do not have a retirement plan. Many people who find themselves in this group of people who don't have a retirement plan are there because they haven't started saving for retirement at all. A recent study conducted by Credit Karma showed that 25% of Gen X respondents and 27% of boomers had not started saving anything for retirement. But without some source of retirement income to draw from, you are essentially choosing to rely on Social Security, which is a really, really poor strategy. This is why you need a retirement plan. A strong retirement plan considers the various methods for saving, such as your employer-sponsored retirement account, like your 401k, individual retirement accounts like traditional IRAs or Roth IRAs, as well as other investment options like index funds and real estate. Each of these options offers different tax advantages and growth potentials, which should be customized both to your personal risk tolerance and your time horizon for retirement. Retirement plans should be flexible and adjust over time as your circumstances change, such as job transition, inflation, or changes in your income. This is not something that you can just set and forget, but it must be regularly reviewed and updated to make sure that you are on track to meet your retirement goals. The most important part of your retirement plan is setting goals that are specific to your financial situation and your future needs. It starts with estimating how much money you think you will need in retirement to maintain your lifestyle, factoring in things such as housing, leisure activities, medical care, etc. Without a clear understanding of these expenses, it's really, really difficult to gauge whether your current savings and investments are sufficient. And this is where the 4% rule comes in. One of the best guidelines for retirement planning is the 4% rule. This rule will help you determine how much you can withdraw from your retirement savings every year. The 4% rule suggests that you withdraw 4% of your retirement savings in the first year and then adjust for inflation in each subsequent year, and you can do this for a 30-year period without running out of money. And let me give you an example of this. Assume you have $1 million saved for retirement. The 4% rule would tell you that in the first year, you should withdraw 4% or $40,000. And then in the subsequent year, you would adjust that rate based on inflation. So if the inflation rate is 2%, then in the following year, you would withdraw 6%. For full context on this rule, there are a couple of underlying assumptions that you should be aware of. First is that the 4% rule assumes that you have a diversified portfolio with a healthy mix of stocks and bonds. And secondly, it is based on historical data. Thirdly, as I mentioned before, this does assume a 30-year retirement period, which may or may not be applicable to everyone, just depending on individual circumstances. Even still, the 4% rule is really helpful to have as a baseline, and you can use it to work backwards and figure out what you should be aiming to save for in retirement using just 2 simple steps. Step 1 is to estimate your annual retirement expenses. So you want to determine how much money you think that you will need in every single year of retirement. And this includes housing, food, transportation, healthcare, and any other regular expenses. You want to be realistic with this number, and also don't forget to account for inflation. Step 2 is to apply the 4% rule using this formula. Retirement savings needed equals annual expenses divided by 0.04. A quick example using this formula is if you estimate your annual expenses to be around $50,000 per year, then the 4% rule says that your retirement savings goal should be $1.25 million. Now that is definitely a lot of money, but being in your 20s and 30s, you still have time on your side to get started in investing right now. And one of my favorite ways to invest is through using index funds. Index funds are designed to replicate the performance of a specific stock market index, like the S&P 500, for example. They give you access to a wide variety of stocks, they have low fees, and they don't require much active management. Index funds are perfect for beginners, and I walk through in detail how to start investing in index funds in the video on the screen, so make sure you watch that next.